Hi guys, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Nessie. Today I'm building a hanging pot rack for the gnome's kitchen. I was initially going to build it from scratch, but I remembered a few items from my stash that would save me a lot of trouble, starting with these wooden balcony railings that little Gretchen sent me ages ago. I figured the smaller piece would be the perfect size for the pot rack, so now you can have a laugh at my apparent lack of ability to cut through the masking tape. It seems that trying to be careful and using a blunt blade wasn't the best plan of action, but persistence pays off and I get there in the end. Right, so that's finally free. Let's give the ends a quick tidy up with a bit of sandpaper. I want to cover the ends of the rails and they just happen to be the same width as a popsicle stick, so I'm tracing out the end pieces to fit. I'm using my handy dandy angle cutters, yes, my broken ones, to cut the popsicle pieces out. You could use a craft knife or sturdy scissors if you wanted. Dry fit? Yep, fits good. Give them a sand on the cut edges. Now glue them on with good glue. Look at me go, trying to be all sparing on the glue application and stuff. The Excessive Glue Recovery Club would be so proud. So here I'm thinking out my next steps, planning where I should add hooks and stuff like that. I mark out the four corners, which is pretty pointless because I paint over them soon enough. The skinny damaged corner here has me a little worried though, and I'm worried it's going to split when I add the hooks later. So I had this chain necklace in my stash and I thought it would be nice to use for hanging up the pot rack. I removed two pieces of the chains and the jump rings they had at each end. A tip I learned about opening jump rings is to twist the ends of the joins apart sideways. It's easier to get them back in place again without distorting the ring shape. Is it just me, or does this necklace look like something Tina Turner wore in Mad Max? These pieces of chain are slightly longer than I need, but they are easy enough to shorten using the same method I used on the jump rings because of the splits in the individual lengths. Hard to believe this random collection will all come together, but they do. These little copper brackets actually come out of an old power socket that an electrician left behind, so I swooped on them for my stash. I started painting the wooden rack with a wash of burnt umber paint and water, but it just wasn't giving me the depth of colour that I wanted, so I resorted to straight up paint and blotting off the excess. I was much happier with the colour now. These tiny eye hooks are perfect for hanging up the pot rack with. I painted them with acrylic paint mixed with tacky glue. Just be careful not to get any paint on the screw threads. Don't forget, a full list of all the materials used in this video is in the description below. And while you're at it, check out the link to my Nessie Monster merch, where you can buy the cute designs I've created on stickers, t-shirts, mugs, phone cases and more. I'm turning these 8mm jump rings into hooks to hang the pots on. If I had bigger jump rings I would have used them, but I didn't, so I just made them work. So what I do here is twist each half of the jump rings in opposite directions to form an S shape. Next I take one end and form it into a smaller curve. The bigger curve is to hang on the pot rack and the smaller curve holds the pot. It really is simpler than it looks. I'm just really uncoordinated. So here I am shortening the chains to the right length, starting with removing the jump ring from one end, removing the excess chain links and adding the jump ring back onto the new end. The pieces of chain that are removed won't go to waste. I join them back together and pop them back in the stash for another project. I poke starting holes in the four corners with my awl so I can screw in the eye hooks. At this size they can be fiddly to get started, but the eye hooks are pretty easy to screw in. I had a sudden, overwhelming urge to paint some folk art on the sides of the pot rack, so flowers and vines it is. These fine line nail art paintbrushes are super good for tiny details like this, even if you do hold the paintbrush weird. The beauty about painting on this scale is that a tiny amount of paint goes a long way. It also seems to dry a lot quicker too. Cute, if I say so myself. Right, so now I want to attach the copper brackets to the chains, and I'm doing this with super glue gel and a pinch of baking soda. I'm lining everything up in the right place. Adding the super glue, carefully not gluing my fingers. Making sure the brackets are lined up again, and promptly dropping the chain and knocking it all out of place. Okay, Nessie, breathe and try again. Careful, does it? Phew, I did it! I'm just using a scrap of cardstock to push the chain into the glue. And now I'm adding the pinch of baking soda to set and strengthen the bond. Now I just have the other chain to do. These brackets are what I'm using to attach the pot rack to the kitchen ceiling. But before I start on the other chain, this is how I add the chains to the pot rack. Are you starting to get an idea how it will hang now? Okay, I've stopped playing with it and got the other chain sorted. Now I'm going to glue on the pot hooks. I'm just using super glue gel again and trying very hard not to glue myself to anything. It's not easy when your hands suddenly decide to shake while you're doing this. I've got one set of the brackets glued up to the roof already, again busting out the super glue gel. I'm gluing the other set to the roof. This tube is nearly empty and I'm trying to squeeze the life out of it with my shaking hands. Finally, Papa is here to supervise where I hang up the pots and pans. I was so paranoid I was going to accidentally pull the pot rack down or something. Let's take a look at the final results. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new uploads, and leave a comment because I'd love to hear from you. It really helps my channel to grow. If you want to share your own crafty ideas and projects, join my Facebook page called Nessie Monster Crafts. And we have Fun Day Fridays where we can all show off our latest works in progress. If you can afford it, please consider buying me a coffee. Links for both my Facebook group and coffee account are in the description below. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.